Yo, welcome everybody, it's Andrews from RG. Quick video for you guys with regards to Steam, the workshop, mission building. I got back into it recently, guys. I don't know what I was doing. The folders where things were being saved, where the PBOs were, how to get access, all sorts of stuff. So, I mean, many of you know, Arma's always been a great game for sharing content. Everyone's always collaborating, and you can see here there's hundreds and thousands of scenarios, some amazing missions. The deal with Arma is that there's such a large mod set. A lot of the creators of this content, they're not part of any community or anything. They're like guys that really get into the mission building part of Arma, right? But the problem with that is not a lot of people get to play these missions, and if people are downloading them and they're a community, a lot of the time the mod sets are wrong. So I found just by scaling through these missions, a lot of them are the missions that are designed to be run by maybe smaller groups, maybe 10 guys, where you're all on TS, you quickly download 5-10 gigs of mods or something, and you play it for a week, or you just have like a campaign mission series. But it's very restrictive, and you're having to do it by the exact parameters that were made in the mission, and a lot of the time the mods, the content, they're just incompatible with what you're used to. So what do you do with this content, and how do you utilize it? And downloading things like Spectro here, good friend of mine, knowing this guy for many years, very prolific in the Arma community. He's knocking up some amazing templates. And I recently watched a video of his where he was explaining how to essentially access this content, because people are subscribing to it and then they've just got no idea what to do with it. They can essentially open the mission and look at the content within the Arsenal book, but how do they get that content into their own mission so they don't have to spend hours and hours lining up and creating scenarios and setups like this? The composition is what's taking the time. So let me jump straight into it, guys. So what I did is I set up a few shortcuts that I'm going to show you how to do, which are basically going to help you access all the downloadable content from Arma 3 via the workshop, and then access it to edit it or make it useful for your community. If you're looking at missions on Steam now, which are like a year old, guaranteed with the updates in the game and the updates to the mods themselves, if the author is no longer supporting that mission, it's just waste. So unless you're going to go and download old mods or revert back to a different build of Arma, the mission's essentially lost. You're going to get errors, you're going to get problems with scripts. Also, a lot of the scripts that were built into the older missions from 3, 4, 5 years ago, all of that content is using things like virtual arsenals and just outdated scripts that Ace and other things have all replaced over time and been developed on top of Arma. So it's a great way to go back into that repository and access your old content as well. So this is what I've done. The first folder I set up was just a basic templates folder. In here, anything I downloaded or accessed, I stick in there. You don't have to do that, but it's just a way for me to organize things. I've got my main mission folder, which is essentially in your users documents folder. That's going to be in your standard PC, my documents, Arma 3 other profiles, or main profile if you haven't set up any new profiles for Arma, and your name followed by missions. And in that folder, you're basically going to have everything that you're working on within the editor and saving. So anything that you open up in the editor and save will be here, and if you need to access that and edit the scripts directly or add images, for example, you can do that without having to go through Arma. This folder should be accessible to everybody. It's one of the most common folders that we know about. But what do we do once we've got this folder saved and it's just called the name of the map and it's a folder? Well, it's unusable. It needs to be converted into a PBO. Now, fortunately, Arma 3 have taken means to export files within the Eden editor, which allows them to become automatic PBOs, and that's essentially this folder here. So within your main Steam Arma apps or Steam apps common Arma 3 multiplayer missions directory, you're going to have all of the missions that you've exported via Eden. And with this content, you can obviously host missions, upload it to servers, give it to your community leaders or mission makers, and they will be able to access this content. The last folder and the most important one for me was the multiplayer mission cache. So this folder is basically everything you download when you play Arma. And this is a little bit hidden. It's basically in your AppData local Arma 3 multiplayer mission cache, and you may well have to access hidden folders to see this. I will put a link in the description that should allow you just to pop it into your execute and essentially bring up the folder directly. I'll leave that down below for you guys. But this is a great folder, because what this allows you to do is to play on missions, to play on servers, and essentially get the PBOs which are downloaded. And this is great if you're testing mission content or you lose mission files, because you can essentially go back in and find all your old missions that you tested, because they'll be downloaded into here. One last thing. What do you do when you've got this content, and how do you access it? So now that you've got your mission folder set up, you know how to access the content once it's been edited, export it, and basically manipulate it. I'd advise at this stage, if you haven't already, to grab the PBO manager. I think it's at 1.4 now. It might be a different beta. This is the version I've got. I downloaded this from Armaholic, guys. Again, I'll put a link in the description. What this allows you to do is, when you access those missions, is essentially right click on them and use your PBO manager to extract here. And there you go. Your mission now is a folder. So if you take this content and copy and go back to the main folder where you're editing all of your missions, which is here, and if I paste this content in there, when I go into Arma and fire up the gridlock map, I'll be able to edit that in Eden Editor if I have all the correct mod set. And that's basically gaining access to templates, content, and compositions without having to do all of that work yourself, if it already exists and if you are authorized by the author, of course, guys. So let me show you the last folder here that is very important, and that's really your Arma directory. So if you don't know where that is, it should be located in your program files, Steam Apps, Common, Arma 3, and this folder is where Arma is located. And it's good to have a link to this anyway, because you might just want to change files, launch things, or if you're using any custom mods like we are, like the RG Essentials, which is a static mod, this will be located in this folder. So make sure that you've got access to this folder. Now if you click workshops, it'll just show you all of the content you're using, and when you try to access it, it's essentially blocked with the content. But guys, this content is available simply by going to the actual Steam Apps folder, which is here. That's the Arma 3 Steam Apps, and then going to the workshop, which is here, then to content, and if I just hover over this now to show you, there's 88.6 gigabyte of mods in this folder. So I don't know what your repository will be called within the content. It should be 107410. That's what it is for me. But if it's not for you, then just check what's the largest folder if you've got multiple Steam games installed on this installation. When you go in, you'll be accessed with all of these mumble jumbo numbers. Now just sort by date of when they've been modified, and the top date here will show you the most recent item you've downloaded from the workshop. Now as you can see here, my Steam has updated Cup recently, so that's going to be at the top of the list. But if you've just downloaded or subscribed to a scenario here, it's going to be at the top of the list here, guys. So I'm just going to try and find one of the missions that I've downloaded and see if I can show you what to do here. So one of the compositions that I downloaded recently is here, and when you download it, guys, you're going to get this nonsense legacy file. I'll just get rid of these for you because this is what I've done already. It's this legacy file. Now this is actually a PBO, but it's disguised, and I'm sure they do it for a way to not access, so that everybody doesn't access all the content or their subscriber agreements or something. I don't know, guys, but when people are publishing templates on Steam and having to make videos of how to access the templates, this is where it all comes down to. So you take this file, whatever it is, .bin, you copy it into the file here, and then you just simply rename it to its true designation. You can rename it to whatever you want. Let's just call it mission1.pbo. And then when that's done, because you've got your PBO editor installed, it's going to come up as a file. Just right click on it, PBO manager, extract to mission 1. Mission 1 content is now extracted, and here we are. It's a folder and it's a mission. Now, at the moment, this mission, it doesn't have a map. So what we need to do is copy this to where we're going to be using it, which is in our folder we were in before, the multiplayer missions folder. Sorry, beg your pardon. It's going to be the missions folder. This is where all of the content that you're working on in Arma is downloaded. And when you paste it in here, it's just going to be a flat file. So we just sort by date modified, and we're going to have mission 1, right? Now the problem is, at the moment, that's unusable because it doesn't have a designation of what island it's used on. So if you look above this file, you'll see there's template.altus, halo test.pandora, halo rg mission 1. Now all of these designations after the decimal point, after the dot, they designate the actual map. So in this instance, this is just a virtual arsenal. So you would just simply put the virtual arsenal designation. But what I'm going to do is just put down .altus to show you an example. And now I should be able to open that mission in Altus if it's been made for Altus. Now, obviously, this isn't. This is a VR mission. I don't have any VR missions here, but I don't know what the designation of a VR mission is. But if I looked it up, if it's something like VR, then within the Arma editor, once I open up the mission, it will simply say whether that mission's available or not. And you'll be able to go in and edit it and get the template content or the composition that you require. Guys, I hope this has been helpful and straightforward. It's gone on a bit longer than I thought, but as you can see, I've been collecting mission content now for RG for a very, very long time. Some of the missions that I've been working on and I've got stored in here go back to 2010 here, 2013. So a lot of this content we reuse. I'd like to reuse in the community. It saves a lot of time with regards to mission building, and I hope it serves you very well. That's everything, guys. Good luck downloading your content, and God bless. Andrews out.